I was rejected recently from a college club, and it's fine. That's expected. Like, I didn't expect to get it, but I wanted to get it. But with this rejection, I thought it'd be really fun to talk about how I deal with rejection. I thought it'd be kind of a fun video to do because I know college acceptances are coming out. So I'd just like to go over my rejection, starting with the club that I got rejected to today. The club had a 3-step admissions process. You had a writing portion, they cut people out. You have an interview portion, they cut people out. You have a group interview and they cut people out. And then they have the people that get into the club. Now I was cut out after the interview stage because I had the worst interview answers ever. Some of mine were good. I popped off on a couple. Let's give myself some credit. I popped off on a couple questions, but a couple of them I failed disastrously. It was like the last question they asked me and I wanted to end on a good note. They asked me, oh my god, a fun tradition here is we ask a fun question. If you could be a snack, what would you be? Now people usually answer this in like a metaphorical sense about how it relates to your overall greater perspective on the world, but no. I literally was like, I think Gushers, because like Gushers have a hard exterior and a soft interior, and like that's kind of symbolic of a human because humans have a hard exterior, but if you were to compress them, blood would squirt everywhere. Let that sink in. Blood would squirt everywhere. I need a depression nap after this, honestly. Ironically, on their website, they encourage failing upwards. So now that I have the failing part down, I just need to figure out the upwards part, which is probably the harder part, to be honest, if I really think about it. But we're gonna try and make this into a positive by using the time I would have spent on the club to developing and crafting a YouTube channel, a art brand, and a small business shop. How ironic, because I did not get into an entrepreneurship club, but I'm starting a business. I don't know what's happening. Now, in all honesty, I am trying to look at this as a positive because hello, what else can I do? You know what I mean? Like I have to look at the positive or else I'll just dwell in sadness, which I'm too used to. Now, having like this defeatist attitude is honestly fine fresh for a good 2 minutes. And after that, I get so mad and determined to succeed. I literally printed out the rejection email and I just read it over and over again. And I was trying to get myself more amped up and like angry because I'm just like, I will do everything after a rejection to make myself like successful because I want to prove everyone else wrong, what it was a mistake you didn't choose me, blah blah blah. Even though it wasn't a mistake that they didn't choose me, because to be honest and frank, my interview was shit. And they had every right to do that. And honestly, I'm looking forward to applying again because the people in the interview were so nice to me. Even though my answers were crap, they still shook their head and nodded. Yeah, yeah. Squishing blood, yeah, that's great. And so whenever I get a rejection, I read the rejection letter word for word and I internalize it so hard that I get over it. Because guess what? The only person you have in this world is yourself for the rest of your life. And you need to look at yourself and be like, hey, what do I want from it? Sounds selfish. Definitely is selfish. Definitely want to have a little more selfless attitude when going to things. But that's like a mentality that's always good to remember. Now also keep in mind when I'm saying these things, it's all in perspective of like you just got rejected, you're feeling like the worst thing ever, so you're hyping yourself up now. When you're hyped up and you're like hyped up, do not hype yourself up more. We do not need that arrogant attitude here. Like honestly, when people are too hyped about themselves, I'm like, tone it down. Like you are literally like on a floating rock. Like you need to sit down. Like this, look at your hands. Now imagine them chopped off. Like that is like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. Nothing exists. I don't know what I'm saying, I'm just rambling. Now we're gonna look at how I dealt with my college rejection. My sister went to UCLA and I saw her great experience there. I saw a lot of other people's great experiences, so I always wanted to go to UCLA. But then my sophomore year, I was like, oh my god, like I have another dream school, Brown University. They had a sister program with RISD, which is a really good art school that I wanted to go to. I love art, blah, blah, blah. So I really wanted to pursue that. So I was like, okay, let me just apply to Brown. So that became my dream school. In the back of my mind, USC was also a dream school because I visited the campus a couple times because my sister went to UCLA and she had friends at USC. So I visited USC a couple times and I just loved the campus, but I didn't think it was like obtainable for me because it was like a private school. The stereotype is like rich, privileged kids, blah, blah, blah. I just didn't think I fit that vibe. So it went Brown University number 1, UCLA number 2, and then kind of like USC in the background, right? Well, I didn't get into UCLA or Brown University. In fact, I only got accepted to 3 out of I think 17 colleges. 17, y'all. And my first acceptance was in the middle of March. And so when everyone was getting their early decisions back, early actions, and even the UCs, I got rejections. And so I was just settled for community. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to community. It's a great option. I was transferred to a 4-year and I'll be fine. Anyways, these are the colleges I got rejected to. Columbia, Harvard, Northeastern, RISD, Stanford, UCLA, which was my dream school, and UCSD. I got rejected to those 7 colleges. Now, I also got rejected to a lot more colleges, but I was put on the wait list and deferred for that. I was deferred from U Chicago, but then I got rejected. I was waitlisted to Carnegie Mellon, UC Santa Barbara, UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz, UC Davis, and UCI. But the only waitlist I got off of was Santa Cruz and UCSB. I'm like, how did that happen? Because the colleges I got into was NYU, BU, and USC. I did not understand how any of those matched up, because if you look at pure acceptance rates, those 3 are more difficult to get into than most of the UCs. But anyways, that's just a testament in itself to how college is just a wild shit show, and a lot of it's luck. And keep in mind too, I am a California in-state person. So it wasn't like the UCs were unobtainable. Like out-of-state people, it's harder for them to get into. I grew up in like the Bay Area, and so I had a decent shot at literally all of these schools, but I was still rejected from them. I luckily applied before the December 1st scholarship deadline to USC, and I ended up getting a scholarship. And that scholarship saved my butt because it made me able to attend USC, a university that I thought I was not able to go to purely because of the stereotype that it was all rich people, and I was not rich growing up. I was definitely not poor either, but it was just not worth it to go there. But then it was, because that was the only school I was actually able to afford in the end. Now, out of that whole experience, what did I learn? 1, the admissions process is bullshit. 2, you can do everything right and still not get in. And you can do everything wrong and still get in. Your parents could donate a building. There are a couple of those at USC, let me tell you. But also, especially keep in mind with this year, this is the COVID year. Everyone is applying to colleges. College is more accessible than it's ever been because standardized testing was optional. So you have this whole huge applicant pool, and college admission counselors do not know what to do with 120,000 applications. How do they sift through that? They have to just pick people out of the pile, right? Because there are so many qualified candidates. How do you differentiate them? A lot of it is luck. A lot of it is luck. Sometimes it's you, right? Like I applied to like Harvard, like I was not gonna get into Harvard, okay? I don't know what I was thinking. Like that is like delusional. It's delusional. But at the same time, it's not delusional because these college admission processes are so random that there are people who just kind of get in that you would never think would have gotten in. It is insane. Like that is the twist and turn of college. Now I was expecting a couple college rejections, but while I was getting rejections, I was just like, I'm worthless, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, stupid and dumb, stupid and dumb. But guess what? That one acceptance really changed everything, and that's all you need. Just one acceptance, and that could come from anywhere. That could come from a community college, that can come from a trade school, that can come from a university, but it needs to come within yourself to be like, hey, I am okay with this rejection, I'm gonna move past it, and I'm gonna do better. But the most important thing is to look at everything with retrospect. When I was super down on myself and like sulking over a couple of college rejections, which is totally fine, it's normal, I tried to be like, okay, I need to have perspective here. I need to pretend like my future self is looking on my past self and being like, hey, like everything worked out fine. Because everything will work out fine in the future. So then I tried to remember a time in my life to see if there was anything that I got rejected from that I was super angry about. And there was times when I failed. I failed many math tests. I am not a good math test taker. There were a couple of friend groups I got rejected from in elementary school, and I thought it was the end of the world. But then, now that I'm older, I know looking back at those rejections that wasn't the end of the world. Looking back at my childhood, I can see myself being super sad, facing rejection, but then knowing as me, the future self, looking back on the past self, that everything turned out okay. So what you kind of want to do now is just imagine your future self who's all fine and dandy, had their dream job, has a perfect personal life, etc. Looking back on you now and being like, oh my god, like I was upset over this, like really? It's just a college. That's all it is at the end of the day. You can transfer if you want to other colleges. You can apply to more. You can take a gap year. There are so many possibilities you can do. College is not the only way. College is not the only option. And my club rejection is literally not the end of the world. I'm fine and dandy just on my own. Period, point blank. And now I'm just gonna kind of close off as rejection as an artist, because art is so personal and emotional when you're making it, and if you face rejection, it feels like an attack, honestly, like personal attack. And so when I was applying to art programs and my portfolio was rejected from all of them, I was like, oh my god, like this hurts, you know what I mean? It hurts different when it's like you pouring your heart and soul into it. There are many reasons for getting rejected by a school, and there's many reasons why people may not like your art. Maybe it wasn't right for the institution, maybe the institution was looking for someone else. Maybe they already found all the portfolios they liked and then they just didn't look at yours at all. Or maybe your portfolio could be improved. It's always good to have perspective on how you can improve yourself before just bashing the college and the program itself, because it's important to look at how you can improve as an individual. Always. And aside from rejection as an artist in the form of a college, it can come from social media too. You can make the best painting ever, post it on TikTok and Instagram, and get 10 likes. That does not mean you're a terrible artist. There are so many professional artists that post on social media that do not get likes at all. They do not have a big following and etc. But there are accounts out there who make joke art, who make art bad on purpose even, or just follow the trends and get thousands and millions of followers. And just like for college rejection, it's important to look at yourself and see, are you proud of the art you made? 1, you should always be proud of the art you make. And 2, how do you see yourself improving in the future without that opportunity? Because now that opportunity is gone, right? It's vanished, it's like away, that specific path. But there are so many more, an infinite amount of possibilities that you can go after and achieve and work towards. And this one opportunity is just literally a pebble on a beach. So yeah, I don't know if any of this was helpful, I don't know if any of this is inspirational, but it's always important to learn how to deal with rejection. And even me making this video was in a way me telling myself to not feel bad about getting rejected from a club. But I have binge watched like a couple of series of people just saying how they deal with college rejection, and I thought it was super comforting that I was not alone. And so I hope this could help in any way, because this is a huge life lesson, I guess, that I'm still learning as well. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like the video. If you have any comments to make, any opinions, any advice for me as well on how you deal with rejection, let me know in the comments below, because I'm always learning. And if you like my content, subscribe. I do art videos and sometimes college vloggy stuff. And yes, I think that's the end of the video, y'all. That is the end of the video.